Okay, good morning everyone. Thanks everybody for coming. Today's share is dedicated by our dear friend Reb Reuven Levinson in honor of Parshas Vayechi, Reuven B'chayri Ata, the Birchas Reuven. Okay, so we're going to speak today about, Aryeh Lib already jumped the gun, but I'm going to say it a little differently. Let's say you're a soldier in the Israeli army and you're going to have to carry out a mission, let's say this coming Friday night. And you're not going to be able to do it unless you eat. And your mission is exactly at the time the tainus is over, which is Tzeis HaKochavim. So maybe you could go, people like to make an early Shabbos. Could you make an early Shabbos this week? Daven from Plaga Mincha. Basically, Plaga Mincha would be, 3 o'clock or something. Go to one of these, minyanim where they sing Le'echadaydi, Le'ekraskala, Shabbos, Ne'ekabila, and it's not responsive. One of those. And you make sure it's Sfard, so they skip MMH and they say like some Zohar that's a tenth the size. Then they'll do Ashkenaz for the rest of it, so they don't say Mizmor al-David at the end. And basically, at 3:05, the fast is over. Could you do something like that? Good question. I'm going to welcome my friend Rabbi Avi, who all the way from West Hempstead. Shkayach for coming. What? No, I welcomed you. No, okay, so that's the question. Could you make an early Shabbos this week and by doing so break the fast right after Marv? Okay, that's the question. Or is the fast even dependent on Marv? In other words, maybe you could be Makabel Shabbos from Plaga Mincha, and once you're Makabel Shabbos, it's the night, it's the next day, and then you could break the fast. So let's see the Mechaber and Siman Reish Mem Tes Siv Daled. Okay. Im Kibel Olav, everybody have the Shulchan Aruch in front of you? I have copies, Siman Reish Mem Tes Siv Daled. And here we go. Im Kibel Olav Lesanis Rav Shabbos. Let's say a person took upon himself to fast on a Friday. We're not talking about Asara B'Tevis here. We're talking about a personal fast day. The person is fasting Ichves. A chaloim. Okay, a chaloim. Do you dream? Oh, really? Wow. Rabbi Menachem Yishai has a good imagination. Yeah. So a tainus chaloim. If you took upon yourself to fast on Erev Shabbos, you need to fast until nightfall. Unless you explicitly said that you're only going to fast until the tzibor finishes their tefillah. Otherwise, you cannot break your fast until Tzeis HaKochavim. Okay, that's the psak of the Mechaber. Comes the Rama, and the Rama says Haga, V'yesh oimrim, some say Dulo Yashlim. You don't have to complete the fast. Ela miyad sheyotzim mibeis haknesses yoichal. As soon as they leave shul, you could break your fast. That means like this. Back in the day, everybody made early Shabbos. So since they made early Shabbos, the question is, if you accept upon yourself a fast on a Friday, do you need to wait until Tzeis HaKochavim, or is it enough until the tzibor is finished with Marv? The psak of the Mechaber is, you must wait until Tzeis HaKochavim, unless you explicitly said until the end of Marv, okay? Which is a very strict opinion. You should know that the Shulchan Aruch, what did the Mechaber write? Rabbi Yosef Karo, what did he write before the Shulchan Aruch? He wrote Bet Yosef, the Beis Yosef. In Beis Yosef, in Siman Reish Mem Tes, the Beis Yosef writes, Kosav Rabbi Meir, that's Marami Rottenberg, the Hashlamas Tainis Be'erev Shabbos, Sagi Ad La'achar Tfilas Arvis, Shemi Plag Hamincha Ve'elach. The Beis Yosef paskins, you only have to fast until when the tzibor davens Marv from Plag HaMincha. You do not have to wait until Tzeis HaKochavim. V'chein kasav hagois maimoni sha'afilu l'divrei omrim shetzarach lahashlam, even according to those who say you need to complete the fast. Hainu shemasane ad acher kibul Shabbos. That is, you fast until you're makabel Shabbos. Utfila Shabbos himi plaga min cholamala. Va'afilu im oid hayom gadol mikri shaper hashlama. And even if it's still day, it's called hashlama. By the way, if you remember, we once said, why is it that even those who are makbid to daven Marv at night, we try to daven Marv at night after the Shkia or even after the Tzeis? Why do we daven Marv after Plag HaMincha on Erev Shabbos? You know the halacha is, we discussed this, that sometimes they have these minyanim for Marv after Plag HaMincha. We learned you can only go there if you do it every single day. And yet even those who don't do it every day will do it Friday night. Why? Why are you allowed to do it Friday night? Very good, because since Tfilas Marv is connected the burning of the fats on the Mizbeach of the carbon tamid, which ordinarily were burnt in the evening, but Friday night they burnt it early because you couldn't burn it on Shabbos. So even those who don't daven Marv from Plag HaMincha on a regular day could do so on Friday night. But that's a very important halacha. Don't be lured into these Plag HaMincha minyanim. It is better to daven b'yechidus than to daven with the minyan from Plag HaMincha on a random day, unless you do it every single day. So you can't do it just summers, you can't do it just... It's all you have to be consistent with that. But Friday night, you're allowed to do it. So the Beis Yosef writes, not like he says in Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch, he says you need to wait till Tzeis HaKochavim to fast. In the Beis Yosef, he says you could rely on the Maram Rothenburg, you could rely on Hagois Maimoni, that as soon as you're Mekabel Shabbos, the fast is over. That's all Tainus Yachid. Yep. Okay. Comes the Ramah. Take a look on the next sheet. Look in the Ramah. V'yei shoymrim. Some say you don't have to complete the fast. As soon as Marv is over, you could eat. Who says that? The Tur, the Mordechai, in the name of the Maram, that's Rabbi Meir Meiratenberg, and the Hagois Maimoni. What the Beis Yosef brought in Beis Yosef L'Kula, that he does not accept in the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah does accept. L'chein b'tainis yachid lo yashlam. If you have a Tainus Yachid, you should not complete the fast. But better, v'toiv l'farish kein b'shas kabbalas hatainis. It's better to say this at the time of kabbalas hatainis. But u'v'tainis tzibur on Asara b'teves, or a different Tainus tzibur, yashlim, you do have to complete the fast. V'hachi nahog, which is the opinion of the Maril. Now, by the way, the Mechaber says we're not talking about Tainus Chaloim. Tainus Chaloim is the strictest of all the Tanaisim, and that you for sure have to wait till Tzeis HaKochavim. So bottom line is, listen very carefully. A fast on Erev Shabbos. The Mechaber says you need to wait till Tzeis HaKochavim, l'chumra. The Ramah brings the Yesh Oimrim that you could break it as soon as you finish Marv. That's Marami Rothenberg, who the Beis Yosef brought, and is not relying on the Shulchan Aruch. The Ramah is relying on it for a Tainus Yachid. Therefore, the Ramah says you should not complete the fast and go into Shabbos hungry. You should daven Marv early and break your fast after Marv on a Tainus Yachid, meaning a personal fast. But by a Tainus Sibur, even the Ramah says you should be Machmer, v'hachi nahog. That is why we do not make early Shabbos this coming Friday. Okay?
What's the reason? Say the time.
The reason? Because you accepted a fast, and a fast is a whole day.
But if you accepted the fast with intention, doesn't...
So the answer is that if it's a personal fast, you could explicitly say it's only until Marv. But a Tainus Tzibur is not...
Reason for that, or
for what?
Of why there's a difference between Tzibur and Yachid?
Yeah, because Tainus Tzibur is not dependent on your acceptance. So Tainus Yachid, you accept it. Whatever you accept is what is binding. You're not bound by more than you accept. Tainus Tzibur is not dependent on your acceptance. That's why we don't even announce Sfardim. They announced Tanesim before, by the Mincha before. They announced the Tainus is coming up. They make an acceptance. We don't make any announcements for Tanesim because it's not important that we accept it. It's binding on us even if we don't accept it. So Tainus Tzibur you need to keep until Tzeis HaKochavim. That's the opinion of the Ramah. Okay, again, the Beis Yosef is lenient in the Sefer Beis Yosef, like Marami Rothenberg, that you only have to fast until Plag HaMincha and after Marv. In the Shulchan Aruch, he does not bring that down. The Ramah brings down the lenient opinion. Okay? Now, please take a look in the Bir Halacha, because this is where it gets very interesting. And we're going to discuss... By the way, first let me tell you how Rabbi Ovadia Yosef understands this halacha. In Shalos Tshuvas Yabia Omer, Chelek Vav, Siman Lamed Aleph, Maran Habet Yosef brings Tosfos and the Rosh and the Mordechai and Hagois Maimoni that they say that the din that you're mashlim the fast is if you want to be mashlim the fast, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. That's how the Beis Yosef paskins, right? We said he follows the Marami Rothenberg, but in the Shulchan Aruch paskins that if you're a makabel to fast on a Friday, you must fast until Tzeis HaKechavim, meaning that you're chayiv lahashlam on a tainis yachid, v'kol shekain tainis tzibor. Why kol shekain? Deloi talya milsa b'kabbalasai. That's what the Svar said. It's not dependent on your Kabbalah. Like the Rishonim, the Tosfos Shantz, the Rajva, the Ritva, the Riaz, the Ran, Roy Kech, and the Ravya. Not like Maram Rutenberg. The Ramah Paskins Lakula, like Maram Rutenberg by tainis yachid, not by a tainis tzibor. Okay? Comes the Bir Halacha. This is a very important Bir Halacha, because when would this be Noigeya? Let's say you're a soldier in the army, like we said, and you need to go on a mission, and the only way you could go on this mission is if you eat, and the mission begins from Tzeis HaKechavim. Could you daven an early Marv and break your fast? What would you say based on what we learned so far? The Mechaber says no, because the Mechaber says even by a tainis yachid you can't make an early Shabbos. And the Ramah also says no, because even though the Ramah paskins by a tainis yachid you can make an early Shabbos, but by a tainis tzibori paskins you can't make an early Shabbos. So it would seem that there's no opening over here. Moreover, what if somebody is not feeling well? Could they make an early Shabbos to end the fast early? What would you say? Same thing. The Mechaber for sure not, and even according to the Ramah, he doesn't give any allowance for a tainis tzibor. Okay? But we did see that the Beis Yosef is lenient. Beis Yosef holds that the din of mashlim is imroitza mashlim, but if loy roitza, you're not chayiv lahashlim. So maybe there would be Pesach according to the Beis Yosef. So let's take a look in the Bir Halacha. The Bir Halacha starts like this. What if somebody accepted upon himself a series of fasts, and he wants to pay it up on a tainis Erev Shabbos? Would you be able to be mashlim it on a Friday? By the way, the question happened in this shul. Somebody was davening in one of these house minyanim. By the way, house minyanim should be abolished. Do not go to house minyanim. Not Marv Matzah Shabbos, not Erev Shabbos. You go to shul to daven. It's halacha and shulchan aruch. You pray in a shul. There's a reason we have synagogues. If you go to house minyan, you lose the schar of going to shul. Plus, stuff happens over there. For example, a guy was going to house minyan on every mincha, and it wasn't the first time, and they have a Sefer Torah there, and they opened up the Aron, and the Sefer Torah fell, and it wasn't the first time. So the guy wanted to know, does he have to fast? Yeah, he has to fast. He has to fast. It's a question whether he really has to, but he wanted to. So he wanted to know, could he fast on a Friday and make an early Shabbos? What would you say? You could, right? Because it's not a tainis tzibor, it's a tainis yachid, and the Ramah is mekel. You hear?
He's choosing Friday because it's the shortest day.
It's the shortest day, yeah. And he wanted to, and he waited till winter. Yeah. Because it's not so pashut you have to fast if a Sefer Torah falls. So you hear the question? The guy, the Sefer Torah fell, and he wanted to wait until Friday and make an early Shabbos. And the halacha is he's allowed to. He's allowed to. Would the Mechaber say you're allowed to? Nope. I mean, Beis Yosef he does, but in the Shulchan Aruch he says you have to wait till Tzeis.
And I'm asking a question of myself.
Yeah.
Is it one fast he was doing, or he went back other times?
No, one time. Okay. And he took upon himself never to go to that minyan again on Shabbos. And he's been very, and it happened right here. We got an additional member for Shabbos Mincha, really, because he realized they have these minyanim outdoors for Marv. Yesh harbe ba'ayos, yesh harbe halachic issues. So that's what the Bir Halacha is saying. According to Mechaber, if you have to fast, you cannot pay it up on Erev Shabbos. You're not Yotzei because you weren't mashlim, and you will have to fast another day. V'da, da'afilu l'das, I'm in the bottom Bir Halacha on page 28. V'da, da'afilu l'das ha-Mechaber, d'loi hetik b'fnim das haram, afilu l'yesh oimrim. In other words, the Mechaber does not bring down the opinion of the Marami Rottenberg that you are allowed to make an early Shabbos Like the Rama says, Umashma desvirle dezel loy mikri hashlama klal b'masha kibel Shabbos b'tfilasai. Hainu davka b'misha kibel al atzmei tainis umestama hoise kavanasi l'stam tainis dedina hu atzeis hakechavim umemela muchrachu lashlimai aval b'tainis tzibur. But a tainis tzibur. What's an example of tainis tzibur? Kugan asar b'teva shechal be'erev Shabbos. Mashma bebeis Yosef de mitzadeh lahoyrois ka'apoiskim de svirulu de hai misanin umashlimim de kamar Gemara hainu im yirtze lahashlam rashai v'hai sugya koisham gama tainis tzibur kedemuchach sham. Says the Bir Halacha, even though the Mechaber here says you can't make an early Shabbos, this is talking about a tainis yachid that you accepted upon yourself. That mistama, the way you accept it upon yourself, is to fast the whole day. But if it's a tainis tzibur, if you look in the Beis Yosef, it's mashma that he's lenient, that if you want, you can make an early Shabbos. Not like Rabbi Vadia understood. Rabbi Vadia understood he's lenient in the Beis Yosef, but he's machmir in the Shulchan Aruch, and therefore you have to be machmir. The way the Chavetz Chaim understands the Shulchan Aruch is here he's talking about a tainis yachid, which will be more strict than a tainis tzibur. A tainis yachid, you accept upon yourself to fast out the whole day. But a tainis tzibur, maybe you could be lenient. It's a very... You hear the difference? The way the Bir Halacha is understanding the Mechaber is that the Mechaber is only speaking about a tainis yachid, but there might be more room for leniency by a tainis tzibur to daven an early Shabbos and to end the fast early. That's how the Chavetz Chaim understands the Mechaber. Because why? Because the Mechaber is lenient in Beis Yosef. Rabbi Vadia says, yeah, he's lenient in Beis Yosef, but he was chayzer and he's machmer in the Shulchan Aruch. Chavetz Chaim says, no, here in the Shulchan Aruch he's talking about tainis yachid, which you can make the case is more strict than tainis tzibur. However, says Bir Halacha, aval midivrei Rama, deloy hizker b'haga'asay es daitam. The Rama doesn't bring that opinion. Because of stam, the b'tainas tzibur yashlam mashma, the sasam kedas harekach, b'ravya, hamu beis Yosef, the sfirlu, the sarach lahashlam. So very interesting. The Chavetz Chaim has it completely flipped, that the Mechaber would be lenient by a tainis tzibur, and the Rama would be machmer. V'iyanti b'darchei Moshe, shekasav shegam das ha ta'av kain ayin sham. I don't know who that is. Who's the tav? Das ha? I'm not sure. Okay. V'acher kach kasav, this is very important. Look, 2 lines on the bottom. V'acher kach kasav, shekenhu das maharil, to betainis tzibur yashlim. V'nirsham b'shulchan aruch b'shem maharil, b'tshuva siman lamen gimal. So bottom line is, the Rama is machmir, you cannot make an early Shabbos this week and end the fast early. Now, let's see the Maril inside. Because if you actually look up the Maril, it's there might be some room for leniency. Because look it up. Hainu shesham yisav zel shayne soif davar achar tfilas arvis have a shaper hashlama be'erev Shabbos the tainis yachid. After Marv, it would be considered finishing the fast on a Friday for a tainis yachid. Aval be mem gimel ba'omer on the 43rd day of the Omer. Anybody ever hear of the fast of the 43rd day of the Omer? Gordon has your side on the 33rd day of the Omer, yeah? But the 43rd day of the Omer, what's that? Hayapai tainis kriya b'shvil gzeira v'loy rotzis lahater lecha b'yayim av ki haya be'erev Shabbos levad la'oisan shehisnu, unless someone made it tonight uv'chol hava hashlama b'gmar shkia. Dan says k'lam k'may shenago ad kan l'shaynoi. Fine, that's what the Maril says. The Maril says that he did not want to be lenient for a tainis yachid. Umikol makom k'tzas kashal Rama. Ask the Chavetz Chaim. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit difficult on the Rama. Amay lo hisker b'haga'asay klal es das hapoiskem hamu beis Yosef disvirlu the hashlama talei baratzayin. Why didn't the Rama bring the lenient opinion that you're allowed to accept Shabbos early and then break your fast? Uvi Yoiser, even more, says the Chavetz Chaim, Shegam Maharil Gufa B'tshuva Siman Kuf Nun Zayin Kasav Zel Shaynai V'tainis Yachid Be'erev Shabbos. The Maharil says a tainis Yachid on Erev Shabbos Minhag Dili Ad Achar Tfilas Arvis Kediri Maram. I'm lenient, the Maharil says, by a tainis Yachid. Avol tainis Sibur La'atzmi Ani Machmer. For tainis Sibur, it's a personal chumrah for me. Kekama Rabsa Gedolei Ashkenaz Machmir, like many of the Ashkenaz Gedolim that are Machmir. But Ula Alma Ani Oimer. But to the rest of the world, you know what I say, says Maril? The Ovid Kamar Ovid, you could do whatever you want. Isn't that amazing? The Ramah quotes the Maril that by a Tainus Sibor you have to be mashlim. But says the Chavetz Chaim, if you actually look up the tshuva of the Maril in Siman Kuf Nun Zayin, the Maril says on a Tainus Yachid I'm mekel, on a Tainus Sibor I'm machmer for myself, but for everybody else I say do whatever you want. You can make an early Shabbos if you want. So the Ramah paskins like the Maril that you have to be machmer and finish up the fast. But if you look up the Maril never said you had to be machmer. Ad kan l'shaynai. Just do it l'shem shamayim, says the Maril. U'mashe kaseh b'siman lamed gimel shaloi hitter. In siman lamed gimel, we just saw that the Maril was not mekel. That's hainu shaloi hitter beferish. He was not explicitly mekel. Avaloi hichmir gamkein. He also was a machmir. But from the Ramah, it's not mashing this way. V'ulai mishum denoagu oilam kedas Maril shehinig la'atzma. It could be that the minig of the Welt is to follow the Maril's personal practice. Bottom line is there a basis to be able to make an early Shabbos this week? There is basis. Can you do it ordinarily? No. The Shulchan Aruch says for a Tainus Yachid you can't. How about a Tainus Tzibor? The way the Chavetz Chaim grips him, he's mekel for Tainus Sibor in the Beis Yosef. The way Rabbi Vadia grips him is, if he's machmer for Tainus Yachid, he's definitely machmer for Tainus Sibor. So, for Sfardim, could you make an early Shabbos? If there's a need, if you follow Rabbi Vadia, there's a very strong basis to be able to do that, because not only is the Maril lenient, the Mechaber himself in the Beis Yosef is lenient, and that's what Rabbi Vadia understands, that which is very interesting. The bottom line is, under normal situation, you cannot make an early Shabbos. But let's say somebody's not feeling well. A woman's pregnant. Do we tell her, oh, just break your fast? Or do we say, hey, why don't you just make an early Shabbos and make Kiddush? Now, would the woman be subject to the man? Could the woman make an early Shabbos?
She can't, because she's Makabel Shabbos Ben Eres early, as long as he's not in the house, right? According to many Shem's on Rorbach.
That what?
That you could be Makabel Shabbos if he's not in presence. In other words, it's not soiser what he's doing.
So she could.
Yeah,
Ramesh said he could, yeah. So I'm saying if a woman is pregnant, and she, all right, so normally a woman who's pregnant and she's B'tzar, we'll tell her break her fast. But if it's after Plaga Mincha, let her just make Kiddush. L'chayra, could you do that? According to the Chavetz Chaim, the Mechaber would say you could. Again, I want to just clarify what I said before. According to Sfardim, you cannot. According to Sfardim, you cannot make an early Shabbos. Why? Because the way Rabbi Vadia understands it, that even though the Beis Yosef is lenient, he's chayzer in Shulchan Aruch. So for Sfardim, you cannot make an early Shabbos. Okay? But let's say, for Ashkenazim, could you make an early Shabbos if a woman's not feeling well, let's say? I would say yeah, because the Chavetz Chaim holds that the Mechaber says you could be lenient. And even the Ramah, who's Machmir, the Chavetz Chaim says, he's quoting the Maril. If you look up the Maril himself said you could be lenient. The Minug is to be Machmir. But I have an interesting shaila.
Who's the Mechaber?
Who is the Mechaber? The Beis Yosef.
Right, so I'm getting confused. Because the Mechaber is Chayzer, right? It's
yeah,
Chayzer
no, the way Rabbi Vadia learns...
Oh, the way he touches up.
Yeah, in other words, in Beis Yosef, he's Mekel. In Shulchan Aruch, he's Machmer.
And in Shulchan Aruch is Mechaber, right?
It's the same person.
Right.
So the way Rabbi Vadia learns it is that he in his final word, he was Machmer. The Chavetz Chaim in the Ber Halach we just saw says that in Beis Yosef is talking about Tainus Yachid. In Tainus Yachid, you have to be Machmer because he probably accepted upon himself until the end. But Tainus Tzibur, there's more room to mekel. That's a big chiddush to learn that the Shulchan Aruch, there's more room to be mekel by Tainus Tzibur. I would have said, Right? Where did we see the lashon of v'kol shekain tainas tzibor? Where do we see the lashon of v'kol shekain? We saw a lashon v'kol shekain tainas tzibor. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that in a moment. I have this interesting pamphlet. I saw it very late last night. He brings halacha l'maisa. Asara b'tevish chabas erev Shabbos yesh l'sanois u'lahashlim atzeis hakochavim. V'leftayach es hatzayim, you break the fast after Marv and Kiddush. Now the shul doesn't have to daven Marv after Tzeis. The shul should schedule Marv that by the time people get home and sing Shalom Aleichem and Eishes Chayil and smell all the besamims and do whatever you got to do, Kiddush is over by the 50 minutes after Shkia. Okay? Now what if, can I start Kiddush, let's say it takes me 3 minutes to make Kiddush. Can I start Kiddush 47 minutes after Shkia so that to schedule Hagofen, the nun of Hagofen, to schedule the Nun of Hagofen at 49 minutes and 53 seconds so that by the time the grape juice or the wine gets to my mouth, I'm breaking my fast. L'chayr, you could do that. There's no din you can't make Kiddush. Din is you can't break your fast. Okay? So if you want to start l'chadoidi and be over with davening, let's say you live 40 minutes away from the shul. You could finish everything before.
The question is, isn't it soiser, the fact that you're being makabel Shabbos, isn't it soiser that it's no longer a servatevis, so you should have Marv after Tzeis? Isn't it inherently...
You want to know how could you be makabel Shabbos on Asar B'Teves?
Yes. Until it's over. If it's dependent on when you hold servatevis is over, you shouldn't be able to have Marv. Maybe you can make Kiddush before Marv, that's fine.
It's okay. It's not going to be, we could live with that. We could live with it. It's a Asar B'Teves, and I'm fasting, and I'm makabel Shabbos. How do I do that? By the way, anyway, just down the thought, Asar B'Teves is the one fast that if it would fall out on Shabbos, you would fast. So it's not such a stira, right? But I don't think that's the reason. I'm saying it's a good chap, but I don't think that's the reason. I think we could live with such a stira. He says like this: even if you make an early Shabbos and you're makabel Marav miplaga mincha, you should be makmed not to eat until after Tzeis. But now the question is, comes Tzeis, you need to say Kriya Shema. As soon as Tzeis comes, you need to say Shema. So really, the best thing to do would be, okay, I don't know if you have to hold up your family for that. In other words, you're going to make Kiddush at 48 minutes after Shkia. You'll finish at 50, and then you could drink. Ay Shema, you'll ask somebody to be a shomer for you. But if you're a chayal who needs to go out for a mission, samach l'shkia, and if you're not going to eat, you're not going to be alert, for you could rely on the Maril's lenient opinion, and like what the Beis Yosef says, you could make an early Shabbos, you could daven Marv early from Plaga Mincha, and you could eat right away. I would humbly say that a woman who's having a hard time fasting, could she make an early Shabbos? Halacha v'lo l'maisa, don't rely on this, I think yes. I think yes. Or, if any person is having a hard time fasting, let's say somebody's not feeling well. And they feel, you know what? I can't wait another hour and a half. I feel very shvach. Could you make an early Shabbos? Based on what we're learning, I think you would be able to.
The soldiers, no.
Soldiers, yeah.
Soldiers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In other words, yeah, a soldier, yeah. That's what it says on the sheet. No, but it's based on what we're learning. In other words, you see in the Be'er Halacha is matmiya on the Ramah. Why doesn't he bring the lenient opinion? Okay, so the Ramah says...
No, I'm saying, but soldiers also, nefesh, there are other
Obviously, if there's pikuach, if there's pikuach nefesh, certainly. No, but he's talking about a guy who's on reserve. He's fine. He's sitting at home. He knows he's going to go on the mission. No, he knows right now he has a mission starting at Tzeis HaKachavim. 5 minutes before Tzeis HaKachavim. And then he won't be able to eat. And the only way he'll be able to get some food in his system is if he makes an early Shabbos and breaks the fast early. Could he do that? The answer is yes. There is what to rely on.
Even if he's not. Even if he's Sephardi.
You want to know even if he's Sephardi?
This is on a pamphlet of the Tzravavadia, it looks like. So
no, it's not. Who's this pamphlet? I have no idea exactly. I don't know. You want to know, could a Sephardi rely on this Ramah, Lahakel? No, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced the Sephardi could rely on it. I'm not. Oh, 1 second. It depends if the Sephardi wants to rely on the Chafetz Chaim's understanding of the Mechaber, that you could be lenient, that the Mechaber is lenient by Beis Yosef by Tainas Sibor, but not by Tainas Yachid. Yeah? Okay. All right, that's what we got for today. So bottom line is, we are going to daven Marv Kiragil. We're going to break the fast after Tzeis HaKachavim, but Ulai, there's what to rely on if one needs to break the fast earlier. The Rav gave a good eitzah